hands. They're going to keep. We are underway. A Temple of Malady is where the finals will begin here for Fabiano. #1 overall seed, so he gets to play. Top card goes to the bottom. We're going to head Danny's way. Both players are on 6 cards here as a Temple of Triumph comes off the top for Goldstein. That top card will go to the bottom. We'll take a look at Oppian Palace here for Fabiano. Goldstein will draw.
Now, a card that will be excellent for Gerard in this matchup is Bioblight. Danny's going to do a lot of cooperating there.
And Danny will just pass the turn back, so we'll go back to Fabiano. There's Yavimaya Coast. This is a copy of Rashasha's Secret. When your opponent does mulligan, looks a little bit better.
Yeah, not bad.
A couple cards in the graveyard, 2 for Fabiano, which is so important to his deck.
Probably better, honestly, than having a removal spell at this stage, you know? Although Danny with some extraneous parts to discard.
Yeah, Kaleido damage one of the cards discarded there. Danny will take a draw. It's Rabble Master, a card that demands an answer right away. Goblin token will come in. Fabiano's going to go down to 19.
And this is a problematic card for Gerard's deck. Of course, he's got a lot of removal, but he needs to find it right away.
Llanowar Waste. One thing to keep in mind as well is Danny does have copies of Valorous Stance in his deck, so it's important to kill that on the main phase when he's tapped out.
Yeah, no reason, again, to get fancy. We've been saying that a lot. So many of these creature decks have tricks to keep them alive.
Goldstein going to attack here for 1. No, I'll play a copy of Monastery Mentor. That's another card that demands an answer right away.
And that's what's really impressive about Danny's deck is he has a very low base, but if any of his creatures stick around, they can run away with it.
An island for Fabiano. Will be land number 5. Goldstein will draw a card. It's time to attack. 3 points of damage will come across. And all Danny can do at this point is pass the turn back. Dig through time here for Fabiano. We'll let him look at the top 7 and take 2 with him.
And Danny not willing to get too aggressive here, trying to measure his threats, think Corling Outburst in hand, didn't want to deploy in the face of Crux of Fate, Bioblight. But it is giving Gerard some time.
Fabiano has found at least 1 card he likes of those 7. And it looks like he likes an Ugin as well. So done resolving Dig, and we'll take a draw step.
This is another matchup where a resolved Ugin is almost certainly going to get it done. Danny does have some burn spells. He can win that way, but it's very tough.
Fabiano just going to pass the turn back, it seems. That means Goldstein will have something to do. Perhaps not, just going to pass the turn back. Fair enough. There's a mountain. Now it's time to attack for 3. Now keep in mind, Goldstein does have a copy of Whirling Outburst in his hand that he's actually just refusing to cast at this point.
Well, he's worried about Bioblight and Crux of Fate.
Yeah.
2 cards that can punish him for it.
There's Rashasha's Secret again.
Which is actually not bad for Danny, because if he's not casting stuff anyway, then...
He's got plenty of cards to discard.
Right. Though it will give away that he's kind of on this different game plan.
Yeah.
You know, if he discards these Whirling Outbursts.
He's going to discard 2 of them. Fabiano's going to turn over 2 cards, place them in his graveyard. Secret's done resolving.
And that's an indicator. My opponent's got to have good stuff in their hand if they feel they can play the game like this.
Yeah. Attack for 3. Fabiano going to draw. Bioblight looks like what he's picked up.
And Gerard really can't afford to take too many of these hits in this matchup because, again, Danny He's got more burn than a Siege Rhino deck.
And Gerard is not one that can really gain a lot of life.
Nope. Not game one, at least.
Yeah.
Post-board. Things change a little bit.
They certainly do. There's a copy of Kiora.
Not a great matchup for Kiora.
No, not at all. But it'll do some work against Monastery Mentor for right now, or at least try. And a turn. The Lightning Strike's going to go upstairs. That'll bring a Monk along with it. Fabiano going to go down to 6. Goldstein going to untap. He'll take a draw. There's a copy of Manic Influence. This is a Goblin Rabble Master. Does he get to make a Goblin just yet is the question.
And what's Danny got left over here? Because if he's pushing for non-lethal in the face of a removal spell, you have to imagine he's got to have some left over here because he's been very conservative about how he's played this game thus far.
Yeah, it feels like a burn spell.
Yeah, it could easily be something like Stoke the Flames, perhaps another Lightning Strike.
Stack step. Fabiano going to cast Bile Blight here. Take care of those Goblin tokens. You have to take 1 to cast it. So he's down to 5. Damage from the Monks and put Fabiano down to 4. Then he's just going to pass the turn back. Gerard looks a little frustrated with himself.
I mean, he's getting a bit of a reprieve here because he could have died to a lot of stuff last turn.
Yeah.
Collateral damage, Lightning Strike, Stoke the Flames. Danny didn't have the kill, which means Gerard's still in it, but I don't know if he can stabilize his board.
You saw his game plan was to try to get to Ugin. Took that off a dig through time, but he's still 2 lands away. To be fair, it is a card that can close out a game all by itself, but he has not gotten to it. Hero's Downfall in Fabiano's hand, among other options. Kiora. Well, we don't know where Kiora's going yet.
Yeah, I mean, he might have to time his removal to see if something sticks. Remember, he's playing against a deck with Valorous Charge in it.
Hero's Downfall in the upkeep.
Yeah, this might be the Valorous Charge. I don't know if Gerard can beat it. I mean, he has to have a follow-up.
Yeah. I'll give him a Monk token. And he is going to have one heck of a follow-up now. It's Hero's Downfall to go after the Rebel Master again.
But this knocks Gerard to 2, and there's a prowess trigger on one of the Monks.
Take a draw, attack for 2, get the job done. Danny Goldstein's going to win game number 1 here over Gerard Fabiano off the back of a Valorous stance. Rather timely. Red-white aggro up a game here over Sultai Controls. We take a look at the sideboards. We will start with Fabiano, who's going to change some things up quite a bit here. He's got 2 copies of Rakshasa Death Dealer, 2 Feed the Clans, 2 Negates, 2 Farika's Cure, Sultai Charm, a Blueprint World Eater, Silamagar, the Drifting Death, 2 copies of Sigor, the Golden Fang, a Drowned Sorrow, and a Thoughtseize.
So I like just bringing in the creatures in this matchup quite a bit. Maybe not the Death Dealers because it's easy for Danny to kill that, but the other creatures are either very good at blocking, cheap to cast, do a lot of work on the board, what have you. I like all that stuff. The Drowned Sorrow is very good here as well. The Sultai Charm, there's a lot of good monocolor creatures in Danny's deck. I like the 2 copies of Farika's Cure, and if Gerard was willing to bring in Feed the Clan against an Obzon aggro deck, I have to imagine he's bringing it against a deck with a much heavier burn package.
That seems likely as we take a look at Goldstein's sideboard. 2 Hushwing Grith, a Stormbreath Dragon, 2 Erase, 2 Magma Spray, 2 Wild Slash, 2 Elspeth, 2 Hostilities, and 2 Glare of Heresy.
I like the Stormbreath Dragon and maybe the Hushwing Gryphs if Danny is just trying to get some of the burn spells out of his deck that aren't very good, but very light sideboarding here. I don't like him going all the way to Elspeth. I think Gerard's got a big edge if the game goes that long, and there are cards he's bringing in that are particularly good against Elspeth. The rest of these cards are geared towards beating small creature decks or enchantment-based strategies, neither of which applies to Gerard. So I don't like very many cards in Danny's sideboard. I like his game 1 matchup a lot, and I would sideboard very light here.
And both players are going to go to the drawing board. Of course, they do have access to each other's deck lists, so they will take a look and decide what is best before getting ready for game number 2. But we're in Washington, D.C. right now. Next weekend, we're in Indy, and Season 1 is certainly underway here for the Open Series.
It's really exciting. Next week in Indianapolis, we'll get to see what impact Favorite Forge has had on Legacy. I suspect there will be some. We are off the following weekend for regionals. Then we hit Houston for the first time in Open Series history. LA the weekend after that. Our first 2-day Modern Open Series in Baltimore the following weekend. A Standard Grand Prix in Miami the weekend after that. Dallas, and then 2 weeks after that, the Season 1 Invitational in Richmond, Virginia, with Standard and Legacy as the invitational formats, and a Standard Open Series with a Modern and Legacy IQ.
A lot of Magic to be played, and I think we'll see Gerard Fabiano quite a bit of them. Perhaps Danny Goldstein as well. Hopefully we'll see both these players in Indy next weekend. And with any luck, the weather will cooperate.
Yes. We're almost out of the thick of it. You know, we get through that. Then we're in Houston and LA in February. Weather will be fine. Then Baltimore really is the last opportunity for something to go wrong.
So like right now, I kind of want to trash talk Indy like I did when we were there last year at the beginning of the year, but that was a bad idea.
Yeah, don't want to poke the bear.
No, so I'm just going to leave it be and just hope that Naptown cooperates. One of my favorite cities, by the way. Lived there for like 4.5, 5 years, so just be nice while I'm there instead of, polar vortexing us again. It would be appreciated.
It's a great downtown. It's a great convention city. Working in game design, I've done Gen Con shows there and have obviously covered a lot of events here on behalf of Star City Games, and I like it out there.
And we've had a lot of big turnouts, too, for the Open Series there.
Yep.
So I'm looking forward to that next week. Legacy action there. Tassiger probably going to show up, as you mentioned. That card's got me sold.
Yep.
And right now, we're going to see if Fabiano can tie things up here against Danny Goldstein. Again, Goldstein really breaking out this tournament with red-white aggro. The only player to make top 8 with it. A lot of people playing it in day 2. Just kind of looks like a normal, straightforward aggro deck, but that doesn't mean it's not good.
Well, what's really cool about this deck is you can get some draws that just run people over. Removal spells into Rabble Master. We've seen that package before. But because there's that token element and you have some cards that allow you to stay later, there's no guarantee of death if the game goes beyond turn 5. And a lot of beatdown decks can't say that.
So I really like, the thing I like a lot about this deck is just that the 3 mana threats, they put you to the test right away. Rabble Master and Monastery Mentor, they force you to have an answer.
Exactly. It's you had to kill this right now or the game's going to get completely out of control.
There's some nice reach with Stoke and Lightning Strike. But it's just kind of interesting. It's just, it really is just a straightforward aggressive deck. There's nothing fancy about what's going on here. It's just good cards across those 2 colors, and let's get down to business.
Exactly. And no copies of Chain the Rocks, which is considered to be, one of the biggest incentives to just build a straight red-white deck.
Yeah.
There's so many dual lands in this deck because it's color mana sensitive that it leaves room for only 6 mountains, which is not quite enough for that card.
And Chain of the Rocks is a red-white card.
Right.
Through
it's
and through.
The red, in a lot of people's opinion, it's the red-white card.
And it is absent here.
So what are your favorite Indianapolis spots?
Boy, oh boy. I tell you. Hard to pass up on. Well, I feel like you're rope-a-doping me in now, because I'm gonna say Noodles and Company. You're gonna make fun of me.
No, just curious.
All right, Noodles and Company.
Okay.
I like a steak and shake.
Yep.
I think St. Elmo's a little overrated, honestly.
Yeah, it's more of an institution than an accurately rated sort of thing, but it's still fine.
Yeah, Your trademark thing being cocktail sauce that has way too much horseradish in it. I I don't really know what you're doing there.
Right, like my average evening out, if I had the option of spending roughly the same amount of money, either going to St. Elmo's or going to Steak and Shake, and then going to Nikki Blaine's for cigars and cognac, it's not even close. Much rather do option 2.
Fair. Hey, that's fair. You
And
do
then a
you.
little money left over to go to one of Indianapolis's many awesome downtown dive bars.
Yes, they have quite a few.
The perfect night out.
They have a nice mall. The City Center Mall is nice. There's some nice stuff in the food court there. I know it's not the answer you're looking for, but that's just me. That's just me being honest.
That's mall,
look,
man.
I'm just telling the truth. They have some good stuff in the food court.
Putting the
mall,
city on blast.
That's right. They have some nice stuff there. Lucas Oil Stadium is nice. It's delightful. And this is where the Pacers play. It was Conseco Fieldhouse. It's not that anymore. But downtown Indy's kind of sweet. I don't need any crazy things to do. It's just nice. It's easy to get around. If you're one of the people who likes Fogo, they have one of those, but I hate that place.
Not a big fan.
So
Doesn't do it for me.
there are some nice things to do down there, however. It just felt like home for a while.
Right.
Honestly.
Yep.
Also, their convention center is great. It's gigantic and easy to get around.
It's a great city to go to a tournament. People who haven't gone and are within the proximity should go.
Fabiano going to take a long look at his opening hand. Danny going to do the same. Both players happy. We're underway here in game number 2. Opulent Palace will start things off here for Gerard. A Temple of Triumph on Danny's side. Going to keep that top card on top. An Urborg and a Satyr Wayfinder for Fabiano. Freakus Cure, Saltite Charm, Opulent Palace. Let's make it 2 of those. Opulent Palace will go to the grip, rest will go to the bin. Back to Goldstein we go. And there's a Seeker of the Way.
3 copies of that in Danny's list, and then 1 Soulfire Grandmaster.
And now here's a Tassiger.
And we've seen this card before.
Yep. And it's a pretty good one. There's a Rabblemaster. Sure. The Goblin will, of course, be blocked by Tassiger. And the 4/5 is, looks like it might be coming into the red zone.
That's a pretty bad sign for Danny if Gerard's already attacking.
Hero's Downfall is going to take care of the Rabblemaster. And it might be attacking. Well, Gerard happy to pass back. Going to turtle up behind his 4/5. Card advantage engine. There's Valor's Stance. Part of the reason that card's so good. Able to get that off the table.
We're going to see a lot more of it, I'm sure, too. I mean, it's a good answer to Tasker, along with a number of other cards.
Magma Jet going to take care of Satyr Wayfinder. Danny wants to get the road clear for the Seeker to get a big hit in. Both the cards are going to go to the bottom. Seeker going to come across for 4. Goldstein going to gain 4. Back to Fabiano we go. Gerard very quickly tapping 3 mana. Here is Tassiger number 2. Pass the turn back. 2 mana available. Represents a lot of things in Gerard's deck.
And only 2 copies of Valor's Charge in Danny 75, so not a lot of answers. Valor's Stance.
Here's Negate to take care of Lightning Strike.
And this shows you how much Danny respects this thing. I mean, he's running the Seeker right in after getting the second spell negated because he just has to try to do something.
Yeah, got to get this off the table. And Gerard says, I'm going to take the damage, so I want my 4/5. And Danny will get to gain some life in the exchange, but it's very important for Gerard to have this in play. Now here's a copy of Pelucranos, the big fella, and passing the turn back. So Gerard has definitely switched up after sideboard.
It's not a bad plan here in this matchup, just ramp into large creatures. You know, again, Danny does not have access to Chain of the Rocks, so these things are a nightmare for him to get through. Gerard still at a very high life total, and either one of these creatures uncontested is good enough to take the game over.
Twirling Outburst, 3 Goblin tokens coming on in. And Danny will pass the turn back. Gerard with a Temple of Malady. Take a look at the top card, stays on top. And a simple passing of the turn. Goldstein will draw. Play of Plains. And simply pass the turn back yet again. It's time to activate Tassiger. 2 cards will be turned over. Feed the... Wow. A motley crew.
All of them are really good right now.
Yeah, they really are. Feed the Clan, Negate, and Salumgar. And Salumgar's going to go to the hand. Here's a Stoke the Flames. Looks like that's just going to be going upstairs.
I mean, this is Danny's backup plan. You know, he can't attack for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
So he can do this instead and hope that Gerard isn't able to get to one of his life gain spells or the counters and burn him out.
And it's easy to laugh at Feed the Clan, but if Gerard draws one of those and casts it, this game is over.
Yeah. I mean, Danny is willing to give him a creature that sweeps up almost all of his board, because what else is he going to do? Well, that attack with Pelucanos was pretty aggressive with Danny at 22. I mean, at this point, it does allow Danny to get in a hit with 2 creatures, knock him down to 6, which changes the math on some of the iterations of burn spells. I can appreciate that Gerard also feels like he can't play defense all day long, but there's a big difference between 7 and 6.
Danny going to try to figure out what he can do now because, well, those Whirling Outburst tokens, they're not going to be around very long. It's a little bit of math, perhaps. And here they come. Quick blocks. You mentioned down to 6. Fabiano going to untap and draw. There's a Temple. Take a look at the top card. Attackers. Looks like Pelucanos. All 3. There go the tokens. 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 points of damage. Just 2-turn clock.
Yep, very fast.
Yeah, just has to hope not to get burned out. What's he going to draw? And we didn't fire a burn spell off at the end of turn. You have to imagine Fabiano's going to win, and he's going to. Game number 2 goes to Gerard Fabiano. Sultai control, red-white aggro, headed to a 3rd and final one.
And even when Tassiger is not in play for 1,000 turns, it's still doing a lot of work.
Yeah, that card's busted.
It's a good one.
Let's just call it what it is. Straightforward, simple, and good. And the combination of that card with Seder Wayfinder is, boy, oh boy.
Yeah, it's just gonna, I mean, it is gonna force people to adapt with their removal suite and what cards they're playing, you know? And it is vulnerable to a lot of the key removal spells of the format, especially if Valorous Stance just becomes prevalent in a lot of aggressive decks, which I expect. Sultai Charm, Abzan Charm, of course, Murderer's Cut. A lot of things handle it, but you can see the power of it when it goes unchecked. And people are gonna be casting it very, very early on in the game. Gerard's been busting that thing out on turn 3 and winning the game pretty easily multiple times through the top 8 here.
Well, game number 3 going to be underway here for these players. Take a look at the sideboards. It should be a fun one here in just a moment. We'll get them all set to go, but in the meantime, we will show you the information for Grand Prix Miami.
On March 6th through 8th, StarCityGames.com presents Grand Prix Miami. This standard event featuring Fate Reforged will be held in the heart of world-famous South Beach, and that's just one part of a great lineup of special guests and events. So much fun, you'll want to send a postcard to all your friends. Let's start with the swag. The beautiful beaches of Miami are well known, and Grand Prix Miami participants will get to commemorate their experience with an exclusive playmat featuring the Sand Surfer of Fate Reforged himself, Mardu Scout. The Mardu Scout playmat, promo foil Gristle brand, free 8-player on-demand side event voucher, 1-month StarCityGames.com premium voucher, and 10 SCG prize wall tickets where you can pick your prize and get the cool stuff you really want are all guaranteed for everyone just for playing in Grand Prix Miami. And thanks to StarCityGames.com's show up and play pre-registration, you won't have to stand in a check-in line to get your rewards. Miami's known for catering to VIPs, and so are we. VIPs at Grand Prix Miami get an exclusive collectible pin featuring Mardu Scout, an SCG water bottle, a VIP badge and lanyard, 40 additional SCG prize wall tickets, plus a copy of the out-of-print 2013 Grand Prix Miami playmat illustrated by fan favorite Liz Nugent. VIPs also enjoy the perks they've come to expect, including access to the VIP area, water stations, private pairings boards, and, by popular demand, preferred tournament seating. Not a VIP, but still want to get your hands on one of those sweet Mardu Scout pins? You'll have 2 shots to do so. On Friday, play in one of the 3 $20 sealed spectaculars, where for just $20 you get a Mardu Scout pin, 6 boosters to build your deck, and a chance to win tons of additional prizes. On Sunday, the Super Sunday Series offers every participant a Mardu Scout pin, a chance to win loads of additional prizes, and for the champion, an all-expense-paid trip to Wizards of the Coast headquarters to play in the $20,000 Super Sunday Series Championship. On Friday evening, Brian Bronduin and Chris Van Meter will take the popular Versus video series live, battling with some of the most popular standard decks. Come cheer on your favorite in person or tune into SCG Live to watch the action as it unfolds. No Grand Prix is complete without artists, and Grand Prix Miami is thrilled to welcome RK Post, Jeff Miracola, John Stanko, Jason A. Engel, plus special guest and illustrator of Mardu Scout, Zoltan Boros. We're also excited to announce our Grand Prix Miami guest of honor. Joining us all the way from France, Alexi Bricklot. Alexi is the illustrator of 8 Planeswalkers, including the original Lorwyn 5, along with dozens of other incredible works, and we are thrilled to have him join us in Miami for a rare stateside appearance. Can't make it to Grand Prix Miami? Join Cedric Phillips, Patrick Sullivan, and the rest of the SCG Live crew for live coverage of the entire event from start to finish, beginning on Saturday morning. On March 6th through 8th, StarCityGames.com presents Grand Prix Miami, a standard event you won't want to miss. Visit StarCityGames.com/GP Miami for more info, and we'll see you there.
If you're looking for something to do March 6th through the 8th, well, I know where I'll be.
And by the looks of things, Standard's going to be a pretty fun format to play.
Yeah, it won't be too bad. Won't be too bad. I guess I'm also contractually obligated to be there, but that's neither here or there. See you there. Should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, nothing screams enthusiasm like bringing up contractual obligations.
I'll see you there. It's going to be a blast. And you know what? You'll be there too.
It's true.
Miami is sweet.
I also have contractual obligations. But
Again, neither here nor there.
right.
It's going to be warm. There's the beach.
A lot of things to do in Miami.
Yeah, it's sweet. Got some sweet guests of honor, too. It's going to be a really fun tournament. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I mean, all these Grand Prix are so much fun.
Yeah. Finals match here. Last game of our 2-day 20K Standard Open. Danny Goldstein is on the play. Windscarred Crag will start him off at 21. Fabiano, we'll see where he begins. Both players kept their 7. Hopefully it's an entertaining one.
Feels like not that long ago when we were trying to remember the name of all 10 of those suckers for Grand Prix Orlando.
Oh, gosh. Those were really tough, actually.
That was really rough.
So that's the part of the job people don't get to see.
Right.
Is memorizing those cards. There's a Plains. I know that one.
Mm-hmm. Still got it.
Yes, sure do.
Fortunately, Matthias Hunt is like a steel trap when it comes to card names.
Not quite sure how he does it.
No.
Polluted Delta there for Fabiano, passing a turn. Not a fast start here for Danny, though. A lot of the work gets done starting on turn 3.
Yeah, that's where his deck really starts humming. 4 copies of Goblin Realm Master, 4 copies of Monster and Mentor.
There is the Rabble Master. And Danny's expecting it to die. Yeah, it's long gone.
Freakish Cure is so good in this matchup. I mean, it's a great tempo play. The life gain matters. Kills everything of significance.
Now, the one thing to keep in mind here, take a look at Fabiano. Swamp in a Temple, fine start. No blue mana yet, though. His mana's a little all over the place. We don't have an Opulent Palace in play yet either, though it looks like he did just draw one, so that'll certainly help. There's also a Seder Wayfinder there, too.
It looks like a hand flush with removal and some land drops.
Yeah.
Gerard can't ask for a lot more, and, you know, there's not any Planeswalker element to Danny's deck. Really, the only thing that lets him keep his head above water in some sort of protracted game is Outpost Siege.
Here is Thoughtseize. Monastery Mentor going to bite Thus. You see Danny's hand. It's not a great one. Stoke the Flames and 3 lands.
And he has nothing to really do with this mana. There's no mana dump. There's no conversion. So some of those lands just represent dead draws.
Opulent Palace. Kick it back to Danny. Danny will draw. He'll play that Windscarred Crag and simply pass the turn back. If you're Gerard, you are thrilled right now. And there is Satyr Wayfinder.
And Gerard's got the good elements of Thoughtseize decks, which is there's a lot of cards he just doesn't care about. So he can leave you with the irrelevant stuff, take the little pieces that matter, and leave you very light on resources. And that's exactly what's happening to Danny right now.
Fabiano deciding what he wants to take. Look, he's going to go Polluted Delta. Let the Opulent Palace and the other Delta go to the graveyard. Drown in Sorrow as well. Now Gerard deciding what land he wants to play. Does have a temple too, so yeah, lands are not going to be a problem. Play a Delta, pass the turn back. Goldstein can untap and take a draw here. There is a Plains. And all he can do is simply pass it back to Fabiano yet again, dig through time the draw step.
And already on the super cheap.
Yeah, not tough for him to do at all. Gerard going to sacrifice that Polluted Delta. Go get himself an island.
We're used to seeing that kind of velocity in Modern and in Legacy, but in Standard, very rarely have we seen decks constructed like this.
There's Temple. Take a look at the top card. Make it the bottom card. Here's an attack for 1. And this is a Plukernos World Eater. 5 toughness, very and very important here.
And Gerard has so much 5 toughness in his deck post-board, and that's exactly the point at which Danny can stop handling things efficiently.
Here's a Magma Jet. And if it takes 2 cards to get the job done, you couldn't be happier.
Under no pressure, resources left in hand, including dig through time.
Fabiano will draw.
Danny not playing the land, wisely playing around Rakshsa's Secret.
Ah, yes.
He almost put it into play and then hesitated, knowing that the coast was not entirely clear.
Dig through time here on the cheap. Fabiano going to figure out what to delve away, what to leave in the graveyard for Ecus Cure and Plukernos. We'll take a look at the top 7. And as usual, we'll take 2 with him. Tassiger is 1. Hard to pass that up.
Yeah, we're watching exactly what happens to Danny's deck here when he has to just slog through 5 times his creatures.
Yeah.
Almost impossible unless he has an advanced board, and Freakish Cure alongside Thoughtseize just took all the wind out of his sails.
Satyr Wayfinder in for 1. Fabiano happy to pass the turn back. At a very, very healthy 18. Goldstein will draw. He's going to use something like a Monastery Mentor or Rabble Master right now. There's a Monastery Mentor. At least gives him a shot. Fabiano looks at a copy of Hero's Downfall, decides now's a good time. Stoke the Flames. Here in response from Goldstein. We'll at least give him a Monk on the way out. Fabiano will draw.
I mean, Gerard's going to be able to establish Tassiger here potentially with Freakish Cure. I mean, there's just a lot to like.
Yeah, there is Tassiger. I'll tell you something. You know, we've been watching Gerard. You and I have known him for a long time. We've seen him quite a few times over the course of this tournament, and you know, some laughing has been involved just with some of the cards he's turned over with Satyr Wayfinder. It does look a little bit crazy at times with the one-ups that he does have in his deck. I think his deck's really good.
Yeah, there's something here. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if I agree with everything in the 75 or whatever, but his base of extremely efficient ways to get his graveyard milled over and Tassiger dig through time, this has been really potent. I mean, this tournament's been all him.
Yeah.
First overall seed, Only lost to Andrew Boswell. And there's been all sorts of comers, all sorts of matchups he's run into. And this is another disastrous reveal here for Danny.
Yeah. The thing I take away when I'm watching, someone going kind of on a run like this, it's not like he's barely winning.
No, we haven't watched too many close games.
Yeah, he's kicking the crap out of the people he's been playing against.
And even the games he's lost, it's always felt like, well, he's still drawing to Crux of Fate. He's still drawing to Ugin. He's still, he's not just out of the game here.
Yeah. Rabble Master is the card underneath Ashiok. The rest were lands.
And these post-board games here against Danny have just been a shellacking.
Yeah. His plan is a pretty good one, which is efficient, large creatures. Tasker, Pelucranos. Haven't seen Death Dealer show up, but that one would be pretty tough too.
Sweet.
Yeah, now Gerard has Rabble Master on his side. Goblin Token 2. Getting into the red zone.
And it wouldn't be a Gerard signature win without Ashiok somehow being involved in the whole thing.
You better believe it. Think about how he beat Reed Duke.
Yep, the ultimate.
Yeah, in the finals of Worcester last year. He got him with the ultimate, just as you said. Tasker going to keep going to work here. There's a Seder Wayfinder, going to load up the graveyard a little bit more. Bioblight, Wayfinder, Salumgar, Opulent Palace will go to hand. He's found something here.
Yeah. I think this is just the beginning of decks built around Tasker.
I gotta agree.
This is just the start, and not just standard either.
Oh no, I 100% agree. Opulent Palace. Player's making sure he hasn't played a land just yet.
He's done 1,000 insane things this turn, so it's always good to double check.
It is true. Goldstein going to draw, show some lands, and that is going to do it. Gerard Fabiano, #1 overall seed, number 12 on our Season 1 leaderboard. He is moving up the ranks. Champion here of our Standard Open in Washington, D.C. Congratulations to him.
Here's something about Gerard. I've worked with him for Pro Tours back in the day. And I've mentioned this before on the broadcast. Gerard, when new sets came out, when we were working on Pro Tours, he always identified the card that mattered. When we were working for